financial stability, yes, it belongs to me. I'll rise, I'll bloom in faith, my job, relationships, my heart, my mind, my soul. I will be made whole. It is my time to bloom. A time to bloom, a time to bloom. Oh, it is my time to bloom. A time to bloom, a time to bloom.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of A Time to Bloom, the podcast. I am Chantel Biddings, licensed clinical professional counselor. This podcast will explore how your relationships, your job, your friends, your life experiences, and your faith impact your mental health. On today, I am so excited to have with me Monica Abernathy, owner and chief operator at A Polished Work. And she is just phenomenal. She's a wonderful entrepreneur. And I wanted to come on today to talk with her about entrepreneurship and self-care as an entrepreneur. So Monica, welcome. Tell the people about yourself. Just greet us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. My name is Monica Abernathy, as you said, and I am the owner of A Polished Work Nail Spa Lounge, and we're a full service nail salon. But I like to say we're more than that. So our clients, they get their nails done, but they also look forward to their experience. So it's a total experience where our clients we've built relationships with, they look at it as an escape from their busy lives. We do have a lot of entrepreneurs that visit us. So they really look forward to that me time and a time to just kind of decompress and take that time for themselves. And we also host events and different things to kind of cater to that audience.
Absolutely, absolutely. And full disclosure, A Polished Work is my absolute nail spa of choice. It is where I go to decompress and to just have a break on my Mondays off. And so Monica provides the ultimate experience. And so I'm so happy to have her here with me. And we are just continuing a conversation that we have typically on Mondays when I go for my appointment about the importance of self-care, specifically for entrepreneurs. So Monica, I know you are an entrepreneur and then you see a lot of entrepreneurs in the nail spa. What are our main challenges with prioritizing ourselves?
So as an entrepreneur, and you know, you and I both know this, there's always something to do, always. So, and it's always high priority and pressing and the next thing. And we have so many ideas and just trying to figure out ways to maximize our time. So sometimes it's difficult to just stop and take that time for ourselves and what can feel like doing nothing when there's so many other things that you have on your list of to-dos, but just taking that time to realize that you're not doing nothing. You're actually making yourself available to do more.
Absolutely, absolutely. I always say that when you're resting, you are doing something. You are actively replenishing, you're actively refueling and refreshing yourself. And so we have to make sure that we are taking that time for ourselves. For me, my challenge is this, like you said, there's always something to do. And so for me, I have to make sure that I schedule time for me, just like I schedule my appointments for my clients, my meetings, my speaking engagements. Everything that I do has to be on that schedule, including my self-care. So what is a challenge for you?
The same. So just finding that time and putting it aside. And actually, I was doing very well pre-COVID with that. So I had a Sunday standing every other Sunday, a massage appointment, but I made it like an experience. So I would go and just kind of have a little sushi date with myself and then go and get my massage. And they were really close to one another. So that was it. Everybody knew at every other Sunday. Oh, and I think sometimes that would be also my therapy day too. So it was like a complete self-care reflection day. And, you know, COVID interrupted that a little bit. So right now I'm actually trying to just kind of reestablish that. I have other methods that I do. I've picked up meditating and just taking that time to just kind of reflect on my own, but just trying to get a more structured thing like I had before, right now. So I'm actually in between, but I'm definitely more mindful. So that's the one thing that I'm really grateful for, that I'm mindful and I understand what the benefit of taking that time is. So with everything that I have going on, I still try and make sure, hey, if I need to rest, I'll make that time and not feeling like I'm doing nothing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I think that is definitely a challenge. Once you get off your routine, it's like everything else. Once you stop exercising every morning and you kind of fall back into, not today, then it kind of gets off track. And then before you know it, you are not prioritizing yourself anymore. And so I think that exactly what you said, we have to make the time because it's not just going to happen. You got to make it happen. And you have to stay on schedule with it. You have to.
Yeah, and it can feel a little daunting. Like I know, I think I've shared with you that I had read the 5 a.m. Club. And so I made that the thing, because I remember once before, like a few years ago, I was like, oh, I don't have time to work out. And so they were like, oh, you have time. And it was like, they were like, what are you doing at like 5 a.m.? Like, sleep. What do you mean? What am I doing? And so, but now I realize, and I'm getting up at 5 to do it because it's important. And that is a time where I wasn't doing anything else but sleeping, which sleep is very important, don't get me wrong, but it was a time that I could carve out where I don't have that just kind of nagging obligation feeling like I'm missing something else or I'm taking time away from something else. So that's been working really well. That's another part of the self-care that I bought a bike and I'm up at 5 a.m. and I'm doing those rides, and just that feeling of accomplishment and having that at the top of the day done, it's something that it's like, okay, I did this for myself, even, regardless of how the rest of the day may go. I feel accomplished in that aspect alone.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because even on your what we say days off, where you don't see clients, it's still being a woman, being a wife, being a mother, where you still got stuff in the house that has to get done, groceries that have to come, whether it's you going to pick them up, which is my preference, or actually going inside the grocery store. There's always something to do, appointments, doctor's appointments. We still got life that has to occur, and family that has things going on as well. And so even on your days off, you're still doing stuff. So making the time that is just for you is extremely important. And I don't know how many women understand how important it is just to be with themselves. Like just to be with your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own emotions, to make that time just for you and with you is so vital.
Absolutely. And I think some of us, we're so used to always doing for others, and in our culture, and I don't know if it's, with Black women in particular, I really feel like it is, as we have this kind of everything on our shoulders, mentality. And it's like, okay, we're going to figure it out. We're going to work it out, and we have to fix it. And sometimes you have to be okay with things not being okay, or with some things, going on the back burner, to take care of yourself first, and knowing that we can do all that we can, but ultimately we're not in control, so we just have to kind of go with the flow and do our best, and everything will fall in line, because we can, do all this ripping and running, and we're just going to wear ourselves thin.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that you said that ultimately everything is not within our control. We can absolutely do our best, but at some point we have to realize that ultimately God is in control, and he is going to orchestrate whatever goes on, and he will fix it, and he will make it right. And we're going to do our best. But at the end of the day, we cannot take control over everything, which I think is a hard thing for us to realize. Just like not having our hand on everything, trying to fix everything for everybody and make everything right. And, as a therapist, that is something, I have to pull back from every day. Like, I can't fix every situation. I have to let people figure out and walk this journey on their own. I'm walking alongside with them, but I can't fix everyone. And then that lesson has to transfer over into my real life. Like, I can't fix everybody in my house. I can't fix everybody in my family. And I have to realize that, you know, I'm not God and I don't have control over all of this. So yeah, that is a huge lesson we have to learn, that we are not in control of everything.
Yeah, and I think it's particularly different or difficult for entrepreneurs because we are used to that building, creating, having that strategic plan of laying these things out and knowing how, or at least what we expect the outcome to be, or kind of controlling those outcomes as much as possible. So in our personal lives, it actually is more, detrimental. Like, no, you can't do it. This doesn't work like that. So I think that's particularly more difficult. I actually recently listened to I was on a webinar it was mental health for entrepreneurs. And the guy was saying just that we're wired differently and we have like higher propensities for having mental health issues, and just the areas of our brain are just kind of different if we've chosen this path. So just also taking that time, and it's different from having a 9 to 5. And a lot of times we feel, misunderstood and all of that because it's completely a whole different world. So just keeping all of that in mind too, because you have to understand you're operating from a different framework than everyone else. And while the outside may think, oh, do this way, or you could just do that, it's completely different. And you have to just kind of take that space and that time to acknowledge that for your particular situation and not necessarily what everyone else is doing. Like in social media can really be a thing. You see somebody baking cookies with their kid every weekend and you're like, I can't, I can't do that. And it's just like, okay, you can't. Okay. And so and
Right.
just being okay with that.
Absolutely, because there are other things that are afforded to us that we can do. But you're right. Like sometimes I can't just think for Chantel. I have to think for C Biddings therapy,
Mhm.
as an entity. And so I'm always cycling through next steps, how to
Mhm.
grow it, how to make it better, how to make it more seamless, how to make things flow better. And so yeah, so sometimes I don't have the typical, well, I never have the 9 to 5 schedule and I'm done and I shut down and work is over. I do have times when I can shut down, but most of the time, even when I'm off, I'm thinking about stuff like that. Even if I'm not doing it, I'm processing through what I did last year, what I want next year to look like, what I want the next 5, 10 years to look like as a business. And I think that you're right. Only other entrepreneurs fully understand the extent of that,
Mhm.
and how your brain is kind of always on. And it's not really, honestly, it's not really until I go on vacation where I don't have like internet and I don't have people calling that I'm able to actually fully come down. Like I feel like I come
Absolutely.
down sometimes, but I don't
Yeah.
fully come all the way down until I'm laying on the beach somewhere.
Absolutely. I agree. I completely agree. Because even when you're somewhere else or you're taking that time, as soon as you're done, like even when you're at your appointment, I'm sure even things may come up or you see something that's happening or we're talking about something and that sparks an idea for your business or something that you need to do or follow up on. So as soon as you're done, you're probably thinking about that and shift into that gear, which it's okay, but it just shows that is still just a break and not necessarily a total relaxation or escape. And so yeah, definitely vacation is a great way, or even a getaway. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't really realize, just taking that time to do nothing and not overscheduling it, because you go
Mhm.
on vacation and then you're packed and doing all this stuff and then you're tired.
Yes, and you
So
need a vacation from your vacation.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. But that is one thing I do appreciate about coming to the nail spa is that there are so many other Black women that are moving and shaking and doing the things. And oftentimes we have so many great conversations about what we're doing, and we share and we help each other and we encourage each other. If we can't even help, we encourage each other like, it's going to be okay. You're going to exercise, you're going to rest, you're going to eat better. Even if we're not doing it today, we're going to
Right.
get there. And so I do appreciate that experience, because I think it's important as we build community just to have like-minded people around us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because it can feel isolating otherwise. So that is, one of the foundational, principles behind a polished work is just to have that space for us and to have it where you're going to run into people that you wouldn't necessarily know, and you find that you share things in common, or we can each help one another get to the next level. And with, even if it's encouragement, motivation, support, whatever way, or even resources, because we each have different resources that we have at our disposal. So sometimes sharing of that, or even, the information can definitely help us to get where we want to go faster or accomplish things, even quicker or better. So definitely that's what it's about.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, Monica, let's share our top 3 favorite self-care activities. I'll go first to give you a moment to
Oh,
kind of think about yours.
okay.
But my number 1 favorite self-care activity is taking a hot bubble bath and reading. Like that is my ultimate like getaway in my own house, to just take a hot bath and read a book in the tub, maybe some soft music playing while I read. But that's my ultimate number 1, like self-care. My next one is actually new for me in the last year or so, is gardening, just getting outside, playing on my plants. I don't always get it right, but it's something about being outside in nature, and just watching things grow, learning lessons about it, and just watching that cycle of life, I think has become very relaxing for me. Sitting outside on my deck and just being able to breathe and just be by myself for a minute is important. And then my number 3 has always been shopping. And I know that a lot of people don't consider that self-care, but for me it is. It's fun, even when I don't buy all the things, just to look and walk around and kind of be in a different space. I really missed that during COVID, just being able to walk around Target and pick up my little things and put it back and get something else. So those are my top 3. What are your top 3?
And ours are really similar. I'm just going to add that mine is working out. So my cycling.
Mhm.
I love my bike. I have a Bowflex, and so it has the sceneries they're virtual sceneries, and so I like picking the different destinations and then riding through there, and just kind of have traveling, just kind of impromptu
Yes.
kind of mind journey, and just that feeling also of accomplishment, such as pushing yourself a little harder or thinking like, oh my goodness, I'm tired, I can't do this, and then being able to actually, finish a ride. So that's number 1. And then it leads into my second favorite, which is the hot bubble bath. So that's another way I'll motivate myself to complete a ride, is that I'll have the tub filling while I'm doing my ride. Like, okay, I just got, 10 more minutes, and then I can reward myself with this hot bath. So that is definitely, the music, the candles, all of that. I absolutely love it. Don't always read a book in there, but yeah. And then third, I would also say gardening. So that is definitely a new pastime of mine as well. So since COVID, I've acquired several plants, and honey, we are going back and forth. We're trying to keep them all nourished
Yes.
and flourishing. And also I've started gardening with, growing vegetables and things like that. So really exciting. And we also have the APW garden. So that's something I've been doing for a
Yes.
few years. So I actually get to go out and plant there. And sometimes I just like to go out and sit there or just kind of enjoy nature in that way. So those are my 3.
Yes, and I'm so glad the Polished Work Garden is back open. I cannot wait to host something there. I don't know what, but something this summer is going to
You
happen
should have a
in that
self-care
garden.
summit.
Something is going to happen there.
Yes.
Yes, because I'm so excited about it. It's beautiful. So if you haven't seen it, go on the website, check it out. It's gorgeous, and you would definitely want to host an event or have a party or something there. So Monica, as we wrap up, tell the people how they can find you, how they can find a polished work, and all the other things you do, because you got a list, girl, of a whole bunch of other stuff you be doing.
So you can find the polished work at our website, www www.apolishedwork.com. We are also located on all social media platforms. So we're on Facebook and Instagram, Google. You can, just Google us and we're there. There are links to our garden on our actual web page, but then it has its own social media platforms as well, and that's at APW Garden on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of A Time to Bloom. Thank you, Monica, for being our guest today.
Thank
And
you for having me.
absolutely, absolutely, it's my pleasure. And I look forward to talking with you all again on next week. Until then, take time for yourself, rest. Remember that you are enough, and this is your time to bloom.
Let's go. Mental stability, yes, it belongs to me. I'll rise, I'll bloom in faith. My job, relationships, my heart, my mind, my soul. I will be made whole. It is my time to bloom. A time to bloom. A time to bloom. Oh, it is my time to bloom. A time to bloom. A time